Oh, right, yeah. This come from the comments of the last one. I didn't know. I hadn't heard this, and I've been getting loads, obviously, because we're doing the Gangland War on the channel. But I've always get requested things, but it doesn't seem like any of the major things. This is from a channel called Gangster Times. Um, they seem to be the only person who was talking about this. Like none of like the Scottish Sun is where I've been getting most of the videos from. The Daily Record as well. Um, but yeah, I didn't see nothing about a Liverpool man being arrested for the shooting of the two. So yeah, someone commented and I looked it up, and this is literally the only video on it. So yeah, this is Gangster Times. Shout out to Gangster Times. But yeah, let's go.
Spanish police have confirmed that a man has been arrested in the UK in connection with the chilling execution-style shootings of two well-known Scottish gangsters, Ross Monaghan and Eddie Lyons Jr., in a brazen attack on the Costa del Sol that sent shockwaves through both Spanish and British law enforcement communities. The suspect, who is believed to be 44 years old and originally from Merseyside, was apprehended yesterday in Liverpool by Merseyside police officers acting under the authority of an international arrest warrant issued by a Spanish judge in Fuengirola. The arrest came just 2 weeks after the fatal shootings, which took place on May the 31st outside Monaghan's, an Irish-themed pub in Fuengirola, owned by one of the victims, Ross. In a brief official statement today, Merseyside police said, "We can confirm that yesterday evening, Friday the 13th of June, a man was arrested in connection with two fatal shootings in Spain on the 31st of May. The 44-year-old man from Merseyside appeared at Westminster Magistrates Court this morning for the commencement of extradition proceedings to Spain. He's been remanded into custody to appear in court at a later date." The arrest marks a critical development.
That's interesting. If he's from Liverpool, I'd have thought that he'd have been prosecuted here, not extradited back to Spain. I'd have thought that, if anything, Spain would have arrested him and extradited him back to the UK to be. That's interesting.
An international investigation involving both British and Spanish authorities, and comes amid heightened concerns about the increasing spillover of organised gang violence between the UK and Spain. The suspect is now expected to face extradition proceedings, although the process could be delayed should he choose to legally contest his transfer to Spain. So the murders of Monaghan and Lyons Jr. were not random acts of violence.
Yeah, because I can't as well. Because aren't there some country? Because you know what, Lee Murray, because his dad was wherever the country he went to, so he's half from that country. The country can choose to deny the extradition. I'm sure that. I'm surprised that the UK would hand them over to Spain. That seems like it. Yeah. And I'm sure that's how Lee Murray got to stay wherever he went. I can't remember. I can't remember where he was, but he's like half from that country. So because of that little factor, he couldn't be brought back to the UK to be put in prison, but they locked him up over there.
There were deliberate, calculated killings carried out with military-style precision in one of Spain's busiest tourist regions. CCTV footage from the scene, which quickly spread across Spanish media, showed a gunman dressed in entirely black and moving with determination, first ambushing Lyons Jr. outside the pub, shooting him at close range. Within seconds, the attacker pursued Monaghan into the pub he owned, where he cornered him in a panic-filled room crowded with staff and unsuspecting customers. Monaghan was shot multiple times in the chest and stomach. Execution style as terrified onlookers, including families and holidaymakers, scrambled for cover. Chaos erupted as people screamed and ran for their lives, with some reportedly hiding under tables and behind the bar. Despite being filmed in chilling clarity, the gunman fled from the scene within moments. He disappeared on foot through nearby streets where an accomplice was waiting in a getaway vehicle. The sped away along the N340 dual carriageway heading
We've
towards
seen all this.
Bella Medina. The evidence. A senior police source said the investigation is being led by the UDYCO Costa del Sol, a specialist unit in the Spanish National Police focusing on combating drugs and organised crime. According to the source, the specialist UDYCO Costa del Sol police group leading the investigation had identified this man as a suspect. When he couldn't be located in the areas of Malaga they were monitoring, investigators working with a Fungirola court requested an international arrest warrant, and UK police arrested the man in Liverpool under this warrant. Though authorities have not yet confirmed the suspect's nationality or detailed his criminal history, Spanish media have reported that detectives are exploring the possibility he may also have connections to organised crime in Glasgow, or perhaps even have Scottish heritage himself. So Ross Monaghan and Eddie Lyons Jr., as we know, were not unfamiliar with violence or the law. Both were high-profile members of the Glasgow underworld associated with the notorious Lyons crime family, long locked in a deadly feud with a rival Kinahan-linked crime group known as the Daniels. Monaghan survived a previous attempt on his life in 2017 when he was ambushed and shot outside a primary school in Glasgow in front of horrified parents and children. Despite being wounded, he survived the hit and later relocated to Spain, reportedly to escape rising tensions in Scotland. He was also acquitted of murder in one of Glasgow's most infamous gangland killings, the 2010 execution of feared enforcer Kevin Gerbil Carroll in an Asda car park. In 2017, both Monaghan and Lyons Jr. were cleared of assault charges following a brutal altercation outside the Campsie bar in Bishopbriggs. Eddie Lyons Jr. similarly had a long criminal pedigree and was believed to have continued managing operations linked to the Lyons family's drug trafficking operation, even after moving to Spain. For the Fungirola, double murder is just one in a series of increasing violent incidents linked to organised crime along the Costa del Sol, often dubbed Costa del Crime due to its history as a haven for fugitive gangsters across Europe.
Of alleged Costa del Sol kidnap plot involving cryptocurrency broker. Jesus. A man is shot in the leg during a family dispute. 5 individuals arrested. A 34-year-old man is shot in the shoulder outside Marbella nightclub at around 4:30. A 32-year-old British man is shot to death at around 18 after leaving a football match in Calahonda. The assailant flees in the car before ditching and burning the vehicle. A burnt and tied up body is found dumped in the ravine with a hood over his head or next to it. The victim is believed to have been dead for several. Jesus, you setting people on fire. That's crazy.
Just weeks before Monaghan and Lyons were killed, a 32-year-old British man from Liverpool was gunned down in a suspected drug-related assassination in Calahonda, only 15 minutes from Fungirola. He just finished a football match with friends and returned to his car when he was shot dead by a gunman, what police described as a professional hit. The perpetrators escaped in a vehicle that was later found burned out, a hallmark of gangland slings intended to destroy forensic evidence. April alone saw at least 4 shootings along the Costa del Sol, including another incident in Marbella, where a 34-year-old man was shot outside a nightclub and rushed to the Costa del Sol hospital with serious injuries. No arrests have been made in those cases, but investigators believe they are connected to territorial disputes and drug trafficking rivalries between criminal networks operating out of the UK, Ireland and Northern Europe. Now, with the arrest of a key suspect in the Fungirola killings, Spanish investigators hope they are one step closer to breaking the case wide open. However, officials warn that the arrest does not mean the operation is over. Police continue to search for more additional suspects, including the driver of the getaway vehicle and anyone who may have helped plan or fund the killings. Extradition proceedings are expected to continue over the coming weeks, with the suspect likely to be flown to Spain under police escort unless he mounts a successful legal challenge. Once in Spain, he will be formally charged and presented before the investigating judge in Fungirola, who will decide whether to remand him into custody pending trial. The Costa del Sol, while still a major destination for sun-seeking tourists, remain under scrutiny as criminal gangs exploit its wealth, mobility and lax borders to carry out increasingly ruthless operations. The death of Monaghan and Lyons Jr. underscore how deep those networks run, and how high the stakes have become. So guys, whilst I was making this video, Spanish cops have confirmed the name of the man that's been arrested in Liverpool. So the man goes by the name of Michael Riley, and he was the man that was arrested by Merseyside police under an international arrest warrant issued by the Spanish authorities. Underworld sources said that the name we have heard is Michael Riley, but that name doesn't ring any bells to the Scottish boys. We have heard it before, it was a Scouser, and that now seems to have been correct because they obviously won't have lifted this guy for no reason. Some people had said it could be linked to the Irish because Monaghan had been involved in a fallout over something, but it wasn't something serious enough to warrant a shooting. Monaghan had good relations with the Kinahans, and whoever is behind this has taken a massive risk because they can expect a major comeback. So guys, this is a breaking news story coming in today. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
Michael Riley. That's interesting because the Sun said it was linked to the south of England, which could still be the Irish. This could still be the Kinahans because they have ties everywhere. But also Scotland. Who's the Glasgow? He does a Sean Atwood podcast. McGraw, not Tam McGraw. I'm sure his last name's McGraw. No, I think it's not. I think he worked for Tam McGraw. But anyway, he's a Glasgow matey that went to went to Liverpool. I'm sure he says in that thing that quite a few people from Glasgow went to England, or people from Scotland went to England because he's like, in England they pay you to do what you just do to survive in Glasgow. He's like, stabbings, beatings, and all that shit. He's like, it's just part of what you do. He's like, but actually, if you go down to England, there's people that will pay for that level of violence, and it's like you can make a good living. So I'm sure he went because he had beef with who he was friends with. Yeah. But it's crazy because it is all connected. I mean, it is anyway, the criminal world. If you listen to them criminals talk, they all know each other. It's like Blink says about Arthur Thompson. He's like, it was always a rumour in Glasgow that Arthur Thompson was connected to the Craze. He's like, I always thought that's bullshit. And he's like, it turns out it's not, because he's like, Blink met Reggie Cray and Charlie Cray in prison and asked them, is it true you knew Arthur Thompson? And I think he said Charlie Cray, both of them said yeah, but he said Charlie Cray said, yeah, they'd come down. He's like, the Crays would ring Arthur to get Scottish people to come down to handle shit for him and vice versa. So that if you wanted it to be not attached to you, they'd call each other. So if someone comes from Scotland down, they're not going to be linked straight back to the Craze. And if someone from London goes to Glasgow and does something, it's not going to be directly linked to Arthur Thompson. So it shows you that they are all connected, but you also see that with, I mean, they're all connected because they all end up in prison at some point in their life, pretty much. Yeah, that's what they say, isn't it? Like, you go to prison and then you just come out with a whole bunch of new connections and bigger people, and yeah. But that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, it's saying it's breaking. It must not. They just must be making videos about it because that's what I've been looking for, is videos. But yeah, shout out to Gangster Times for doing this. But yeah, that's the reaction. Sweet.